Hey friends, this is Parag Sarati, founder of ROMA International, where my mission is to continuously find new ways to help improve myself, my business, and then help my friends and family apply that to themselves and to their businesses to take their lives and businesses to the next level, right? So today we're going to be discussing a little bit about what I call a strategic roadmap for a fulfilling life and a rewarding business. Now, this is an extension of the training that I provided last week, which is on my blog. The link should be here down here somewhere. It's just paragsarati.com/blog. But it was more in lines of a strategic way of thinking. I believe it's called strategic thinking for enhanced productivity and then the ability to make impactful decisions. So if you haven't watched that already, go ahead and go back and watch that after this video. Both of these videos kind of go hand in hand. And again, today's video is going to be more about the creating the roadmap to make sure that we understand how to create a fulfilling life and a rewarding business for all of us. Okay, so some of the questions that I have for you guys, and I ask myself the same ones. So looking back at the past year, have you ever felt, where's the time gone? Oftentimes I look back and, gosh, it's already almost November when I'm shooting this video, right? So what we've done quite a bit over the year, but it just feels like, man, like the time flew by, and maybe not in a good way, meaning like I haven't made any progress and I'm not sure if I'm where I wanted to be, right? Like I said, you've been really busy and with no real time, but then it feels like I haven't made any progress. You feel like you're constantly running in place, just chasing after things, but and perhaps some of your peers are flying past you, and you feel like you're standing still, right? Oftentimes we tend to focus on just one area of our life, and have another area of our life suffer, right? So have you guys ever felt that? I tried to focus continuously on my business or my career, and my family life has suffered. Do you guys often focus on the little things, right? Like the hot issues that have to get done today to now, somebody else's issues, but not spending enough time on the things that matter, right? I know I've been guilty of it, and I still am until I have to retrain myself to think in a specific way, to snap myself out of it, right? So I've had all these the questions and feelings that you guys that we just went through, but my story is, if you guys don't know, is I recently with my corporate job, I spent a lot of time just at work and traveling to and from work. My work was about 2.5 hours, meaning like a total travel time back and forth about 2.5 hours. So so that was time that essentially is wasted if I wasn't utilizing it properly. And then I spent 8 to 10 hours over there. So by the time my day was done, I would be spent, I would be exhausted, and I would feel like I have no time for anything else. It's just purely focused on my career at the time, right? And it's not that it was a bad career; it was a good career, and real good people. But I wasn't necessarily getting the financial, let's say, wherever I thought I needed to be financially. Over time, at least at this stage in the game, it wasn't quite there, right? I felt like I was missing out on a lot of my kids' activities. So, for example, by the time I get home, it'd be 7, 8 in the evening. But they get out of school or at 2, 3 o'clock, and they'd have their afternoon activities, playing sports or whatever else is going on. And by the time I get home, it's dinner time and then bedtime, right? So, I had to make time to review their day with them, go through their homework. But really, I wasn't a part of as much as I wanted to be, I wasn't a part of their lives. And I felt like I was missing out, and I had to perhaps utilize the weekend, maybe Saturday and Sunday if we weren't busy, to just have some one-on-one time or good conversations, right? And there were good sports about it too, but they don't know any better. But I just felt super guilty inside. There's often points where there's a point where I stopped working out, I stopped eating healthy because I was so focused on, just the career aspect of it. And before I knew it, I gained over 20 pounds, right? It was just ridiculous. And it was a very, not a dark time, I guess, but it felt like things were spiraling out of control, right? So emotionally, I was a wreck. I was very disappointed with myself because I felt, that I'd achieved a lot of the goals that I'd set out for myself. Having a good college degree, having a good career, making decent income, having a family. But I felt empty inside. I felt like even after I accomplished those things, it I wasn't fulfilled, I guess, if that makes sense, right? So naturally, me being the seeker of solutions, I went and sought solutions in all different places, right? Like I said, it felt like my life was spiraling out of control, that I had no control over it. Basically, I let other circumstances take over and control what what I was doing. So, naturally, you're going to look out with or go and search some friends or family that ultimately that you look up to in certain areas of your life, right? And then all my friends and family and even coworkers, amazing people, and I still look up to these guys and gals, but it always seemed like they were super awesome in one area, but another area I was lacking, right? For example, at work, my colleagues, a lot of the people that are real good friends of mine still, I look up to, amazing, but super focused on their career, where their family was lacking, right? A lot of my friends and super focused on family and friends, but they weren't really financially well off. And a lot of my colleagues that and friends that are super financially well off, they were not really paying attention to their physical fitness or body and nourishing their body and mind and so on. So, you always got basically I was looking at multiple people to figure out, okay, what can I do? What can I model, right? So, like I said, naturally, I had a lot of spare time, meaning a lot of time to think and reflect on a lot of this stuff, especially traveling back and forth from the office. So, what I did was I searched for a lot of personal development type, programs, audiobooks, tapes, and luckily I stumbled upon, and I went to seminars and things of that nature as well. And and this took a little time, right? I mean, obviously this is, it didn't happen overnight, but the struggle that I went through was for a few years, and then over a span of like 5-10 years, I collected all this information and started applying it gradually. And that's kind of what I wanted to share with you today, because the results were, it changed the course of my life. It completely shifted my way of thinking and doing from being reactive to be proactive. And I know you guys have heard that before, but more or less, I felt like I was in control of my life, right? It felt like a veil had been lifted, and the clouds parted, and I was finally able to see the road ahead, right? And that's a wonderful feeling. It just it felt like, wow, like one of those aha moments, like, oh my God, I can't believe that I didn't stumble upon this before. I haven't been doing this before, right? I finally understood. Intellectually, everybody knows what matters, right? But really feeling what matters to me, what's most important to me, and the more I guess important question is, why is it important to me? I had a fire inside of me that was lit again, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I could purposely shift the focus from the small things or other people's hot issues or small issues that felt like they were super important at the time, to shift it to things that actually matter to me, and I'll go through these examples with you. And then of course, after I figured out, okay, this is important to me, this is why it's important to me, I was able to finally generate a roadmap and create and implement things and of course, course correct, because not everything you implement is going to work, right? I was able to apply it and with course correction, achieve some of the goals, right? Short-term goals, and then of course there's long-term goals as well. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, beforehand, I you either kind of go with the flow or settle with what you have, or just these are just the circumstances, and I am in the position where I am, and let's just be happy with where I'm at, and that's it. I'm great in my career, I'm advancing, I'm the vice president at some level, but I don't get to see my kids, but I'm racking up all those miles. So we'll get to go on vacation sometime, this year, and it'll all be paid off and paid for free, right? But I'll get those, 1 or 2 weeks with my family, but I'm just gonna bust my tail at the office, or I'm just gonna super focus on my just focus on my business, or focus on my physical body. But you know what, I don't necessarily need to advance in my career or anything like that. So it's one of those things that was kind of the thought process before, but now you learning these things, it's like, hey, oh my gosh, I have full control over exactly what I want, what I think is important, and what I want to do, right? So I can take control of my own life and my own business. Of course, business is an extension of us, and that's why I'm kind of rolling these together, right? So for those of you guys who are like, man, I'm here for how do I have a rewarding and successful business, it ties in pretty nicely, because again, the business is an extension of yourself, right? So without further ado, let me give you what I've uncovered and applied in my life. And like I said, that's basically changed the course of my life, and the way I do things and the way I look at things differently. And I have much more of a passion, much more of a drive, and I feel so much more fulfilled because I can shift the focus when I need to, and not necessarily rely on somebody else's goals that are not necessarily my own, or taking control of my own life and trying to pursue happiness from that perspective, right? So I kind of called this, I just came up with the name of it, the Ring of Prosperity, right? Well, all it is and there should be a link to a worksheet that you guys can do while you're watching this video, or right after you watch this video. But ultimately, what this Ring of Prosperity is just outlining what the important areas of your life are, right? So by this I mean, what areas in your life are so meaningful to you that if you make progress in these areas, that you'll feel rewarded and fulfilled, right? And you take a little time to generate these. I've given you guys some examples, and for most of us, they're probably going to be the same or very similar, and they're not that many, right? So before you guys freak out, they're like, oh my God, I got 1,000 things going in my head. Realistically, when you look at it and when you break it down into bite-sized pieces, there's probably maximum 10, maybe 15 categories, but that's quite a bit. Most of us are going to have maybe 10 major buckets, if that, right? So and I'll split it up into 2 different major categories, which is life, personal, and then business, right? Because business probably has a little bit more, which is an extension of life, but I'll get to it. So first and foremost, yourself. So physical fitness, like I mentioned before, right? That's one of the major categories. Mental intellect, your mind, feeding your mind. Spiritual awareness, right? Connection with a higher power. Your relationships. Now this can be segmented down into smaller categories, like your intimate relationship, right? Your life partner, a relationship with your life partner. your relationship with your immediate family, your kids, your your mother, your father, your siblings, right? That's a unique and special relationship that you need to focus on, and as well as your friends, right? And I consider everybody else basically my friends, right? My colleagues, my close friends, my clients. In essence, they're all friends. You treat them. You have we want to build the same rapport, same relationship with those guys. So those are the major categories that we need to focus on for life. And you guys may have more or less, but that's okay. So you guys can kind of see where this is kind of going, right? But so if these things are the most important to me, why am I not focusing on them? Or even if I know intellectually that these are important to me, why am I focusing on stuff that doesn't serve me, right? And then within a business, so there's only a handful, and again, you're probably going to have a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on the type of business you have. So of course, there's leadership, sales, marketing, right? Operations, and administration. So these are like the five major buckets. And of course, these are not something that I just came up with on my own. Of course, these are something that I've learned over time, and they've been in the programs and books that I've gone through. But these are the major ones that I've extracted from there that apply to the majority of us, right? And of course, you guys could have more or less. Like for example, if your business is there's a heavy influence from manufacturing and quality. Of course, you can have those buckets in there as well, right? But I'm just trying to lay out the foundation so that you guys understand what's going on. So again, step one, what we call the ring of fire. Basically, we're gonna try to figure out what these categories are. Take your time, and I've laid out, basically giving you some examples, and majority of them, I guess, based on what I understand, is the majority of us are going to have similar categories, right? So that's why I gave you those categories to go through. Again, adjust it as you need. And in the worksheet, there's you can add or remove. It's just an Excel spreadsheet, so you can add or remove what you want and basically customize it to specifically for you, right? Next step is to figure out, okay, now that I know what's important for me, where am I, right? Just like in any case, like you want to navigate yourself from your house to the restaurant, you got to know where you're starting, where you're going, so that the navigation system can map you and route you accordingly, right? So know where you are. So how are you going to, so how do you know where you are? Well, rank yourself, figure out, and just the arbitrary ranking system between 1 and 10, right? Where are you in your physical fitness? Where are you in your emotional well-being? Where are you in your financial security? Where are you in your career, your business? And once you, and be honest with yourself, once you figure out where you are realistically, then you can have a better and you can generate a clearer roadmap on where you want to go, and how you're going to get there, right? So the first step is to always figure out, where am I, right? And then, once we figure out where we are, how do we generate a clear roadmap on where we want to go and why we want to go there? So I have a few questions. Then these are in your worksheet as well, but I'm going to go through these so that'll generate some thought and help you understand and help you outline exactly, where you are, where you're going, and why you're going there, and ultimately, to figure out how you're going to get there, right? So questions, and you can have more questions than this. These are just something that trigger some thoughts in your head, right? So first question would be, what is my ideal result? So let's pick a category. Let's say physical fitness. Physical fitness is something that almost everybody has in common, right? You want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, for your body, right? Predominantly, and you're making sure that you're exercising and you're providing a good nourishment, right? Where am I right now? Where I think I'm at a level 6. I'm doing okay. I'm somewhat fit, but I could really do a whole lot better. So I want to, right now I'm arbitrary number, like let's say I'm 180 pounds and I want to get down to 160 pounds. You have your specific target, or you have, um, I 20% body fat and you want to get down to 15% body fat. I eat out 5 times a week. I want to basically make it 1 time a week. I want to eat more vegetables and nourish my body more, just so I can feel better. I can be better, right, from a physical standpoint. So those are the things that, what is it that I want? And those are good, and be as detailed as possible on those. But what do I need to accomplish to be happy and fulfilled in this specific area, right? So that's another question that you can ask yourself and again, it's just being a little bit more specific on, okay, what is it that I really am after? Okay. The other question is, why will this provide me the ultimate happiness and fulfillment, right? So that's a really good question. So this is, again, more of the why questions are the driving force. This is going to help you be persistent rather, in what you're doing, right? So if you ask yourself, why is it a must for me to achieve this goal, right? So again, let's take the physical fitness example and say, why is it a must for me to have 15% body fat? Why is it a must to fit, to lose these 20 pounds? I need to get into shape because I have a wedding coming up, or I need, but that's more of a short-term goal, right? But more of a long-term goal, something that would work a little better is, hey, I want to get into shape because I want to be around when my kids get married. I want to make sure that I walk my daughter down the aisle, or I want to make sure that that I'm there for my grandkids, right? Those are much more of a motivation, much more of that'll create that fire inside you, and that'll push you to the must level, saying, you know what, I'm gonna do this because I see myself playing with my grandkids, or whatever your thing is. Make sure that that lights you up, not something like short term, like, hey, I got a wedding, so I got to fit into this dress, or something like that, right? I mean, you see the difference between those two. So make sure that your reasoning is very something that moves you, and spend some time on this, because this is kind of the critical part. Because if you don't have something that drives or moves you, then that's something that you want to make sure that you change, so that whatever the reason is that you come up with, will be persistent, and will make sure that it gives you the drive that you need to do it, even when times are getting tough, and that's especially when it's important, right? So, and then another question to ask is, who do I need to become to be this person, right? What kind of characteristics does this person have that I need to have, right? And you need to have them now, as opposed to wait till this objective is completed and you become that person. You need to be that individual now, right? So by this I mean, you need to feel physically and emotionally that you are confident enough that you will achieve this. You are that person. You are that role model to your kids. You are the leader that your the staff wants you to be, your peers want you to be. You become that person well before you achieve that result, right? And because you tell your mind that you're already there, that now it's going to be that much easier for you to achieve that type of result, right? So I hope you get the shift of this, and spend some time on these, because these are the questions that are gonna, again, not only provide you the driving force, but the reasons on why you need to keep going, right? And these very rarely will change, meaning like your mindset will be consistent throughout. Your goals may change a little bit, but what's driving you, your driving force, your inner passion, that's something that will stay consistent throughout your lifetime. Okay. Um, and then, and this is an important one, what resources can you utilize? Are there, like I said, when I looked, and I found resources in my friends, my colleagues, right? None of them were bad resources. Everyone taught me a lesson, and I am who I am because I learned from them and I applied those principles, whether it was my colleagues, my friends, my family members, my role models, the programs, the personal development stuff that I did. I found those resources. Find your resources. Find a buddy to go work out with, right? That'll basically keep up with you so that both of you can get into shape. Have somebody accountable, right? Find a role model that is the leader that you want to become, all right? And see what that person is doing and have them lead you by example. Operations, administration, same thing, right? It doesn't matter what area of your business, whatever your passion, your important areas are. Make sure that you spend some time going through these and finding some resources to help you push yourself to the next level, right? But again, it's going to be the driving force, the why questions that you're asking. Why must I? Why is this a must that I do this? That type of question, the answer to that question is going to keep you going, all right? And then finally, measurable results, right? So meaning like measurable goals. So now that you understand, okay, what is important to me in my life, in my business, and there's only a handful of things that are like very, very, very important, that if you made progress in those areas, that that you'll be happy, you'll be fulfilled, right? Not only in your personal life, but in your career and your business, right? You know where you are, right? You rank yourself from 1 to 10, and it's okay if you're at a 1. That's why we're doing this, right? And it's awesome if you're at a 10 too. Then ask yourself the questions. You know where you are. What do I truly want? Where do I want to go? Why do I want to get there? Why is it a must for me to do this, right? And that's going to be your driving force. That's going to be something that compelling reason is going to keep pushing you, even when the times get tough, right? And then, well, who do I need to become in order to be this person? And be that person today, right? Be the person that you want to be in your mind. Convince yourself that you are that person, and you will become that person. But be that person. What type of characteristics is that person going to have? And go find people or try to figure out how to become that individual. You will do it. I promise you. That just all you have to do is convince your mind, and the rest will follow. And then figure out, get some resources. What roles do you have to play, right? You get some resources to help you with that process. And then now finally we're at, okay, now that I know all this stuff, all right, what are my goals? What do I want to do? Let's start off big picture. Where do I want to be 10 years in this category, right? Where do I want to be financially? Let's say financial is a good one. In 10 years, I want to be a multi-millionaire. Okay, that's okay, but be a little bit more specific. I want to be earning $10 million a year. Awesome, right? And that's a good measurable goal to have, right? How you're going to get there, we'll figure it out. But that's a good measurable goal, right? Now, and do that and if you want to get to that $10 million, now let's work backwards and see, okay, in order to do that, where do I need to be at 5 years, right? So in 10 years, let's say I want to be at $10 million, and at that point, my business, I'm going to have, let's say you're in the real estate business, I'm going to have 10 commercial properties and 20 residential properties, all with passive revenue that are, let's say, $2 million, and then the rest basically are going to be in your other business, whatever it is, right? So you'll come up with those solutions, and it doesn't have to be an exact science. Don't be perfect at this point, but let's at least start from that point. 5 years, same thing. if I want to make $10 million a year, where do I need to be 5 years from now? And it doesn't have to be like $5 million. It can be like $1 million, right? Like, because you can scale significantly as you gain experience and knowledge, right, over time. Then you go back to 1 year. Okay, so if I want to get to that mark, where do I want to be by this time next year? What do I need to do to get there, right? So I want to be at $500,000 in revenue. And in order to do that, I need to start looking at, I need to possess, 10 residential properties and 2 commercial properties. Let's say whatever the numbers are, and I'm not sure. I'm just making stuff up. Okay. Okay. And what do I need to get those? Or like, and then so we work backwards from there and saying, okay, in within for the next fiscal year, or for the next year, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. What does it look like for me in order to achieve my target for year one, right? So Q1 maybe, hey, I need to start looking at properties, and I need to start figuring out what's, whether I want to buy and flip, or buy and hold and just rent out, or whatever it is, and then start looking in neighborhoods, talking to different people, connecting with the networking groups, whatever that roadmap is. You will guaranteed create it, because now you know exactly what you want, why you want it, why it's important to you, and why it's a must. And so you'll go through this exercise and fill it out, no problem. And take some time on it too, right? And then, to bring it down even more real is, okay, to accomplish the Q1 goal, what do I have to do next week? What do I have to do starting now, right? And you lay that out, all right? So now you have, I want you to go through this exercise, and I know I went through it really fast, but it's going to take you a little bit. Once you have this kind of roadmap in place, you'll reflect on it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is, it's a little bit more real because it's on paper now. It went from your mind to on paper. And then to make it even more real, to make it believable, schedule it. By that I mean, put whatever your tasks are for next week on your calendar, so that now it's firm. You have specifically dedicated a time to work on those activities, so that you can work towards your ultimate goal, right? And so now all of a sudden what you've done is something that was conceptual, you've actually scheduled it, and it's real, and you're taking action towards it, right? This is the key, right? Information like this is everywhere, and it's free. What is not free, and what makes the biggest difference, is somebody that can hopefully relate to you. Hopefully I'm relating this information, and hopefully it's connecting with you. And second thing is you implementing this. Implementation is the cure-all, I think, right? Where there's a vast knowledge of information that's out there, but unless you take it and apply it and put it into use, it's not going to work, right? So, and that I know that I'm just here to push you along on that journey, right? So now that you have like a roadmap, again, there's a step-by-step instruction. Go follow, just do it on that worksheet, and do it for every category. So some of the big do's and don'ts, you don't have to be perfect, meaning things are going to change over time. There's circumstances in your life that are going to change things. So when you're going out and putting information down, do whatever feels right at this moment in time. You're going to come back to this probably in 2 months, 3 months, and reflect on it and modify a few things, right? You don't have to be perfect. Just get it to the point where you think it's good. But if circumstances should change, you can certainly change your overall objectives. Most likely your purpose, like the reasons why you're doing it, won't change. And of course your path will continuously change, because life's a journey, right? Things change. So you need to constantly make sure that, whatever you're doing, measure it. Is it working? Is it not working? Course correct, right? To make sure that you're still on the right path. And I know it's common sense, but that's something that we frequently don't do. We just kind of push in one direction. It's not working, and then you just give up on it, right? So be flexible in order to change your route, right? Because it's not going to be the same route all the time, but ultimately your ultimate destinations and the reason you're doing it will be consistent. And then finally, focus on the results more so than the directions, and focus on the driving force, and that's going to provide you the persistence to keep pushing through. Why is this a must for you to do, right? So I hope that was beneficial to you. It was a lot of information, and I used the examples that I thought that would best fit. But of course, there's so much more, and we can go a lot more in depth in this. But so what I want you to do now is your assignment. Your again, knowledge is everywhere. Knowledge is free. You can probably find a bunch of this kind of stuff on Google or YouTube. What makes it real is you to take action, right? And so what I want you to do is go through the exercise, download the worksheet, and do that for one category from the Ring of Prosperity, and do one category a day. Set aside maybe 1 hour per, and realistically, it's going to take you a little bit if you really go through this exercise and then really take this seriously. And I encourage that you do, because again, it is life-changing, and it'll improve and enhance your life to unimaginable levels, and it'll be amazingly rewarding for your business as well, right? So take your time, go through this exercise, do one a day for each one of your categories, and before you know it, you'll have a very, very clear roadmap of anything and everything that matters in your life, and you'll know why you're doing it. You'll be driven to do it, and I promise you, if you apply it, you will be fulfilled. Your life will be fulfilling. You'll feel, just you won't feel that emptiness anymore. You feel that you have control over your life, and you have a sense of purpose, which is what happened to me, and I'm very, very grateful that I ran across this information. So with that said, I'm hoping that this touched you in some way, and please leave me some comments. Let me know after you go through this exercise how this has helped, and anything that I can do to help improve the way of teaching or what I'm presenting. So all right, guys, till next time, we'll see you. This is Parag from ROMA International, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.